Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis, updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities, ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it together. If you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into all these sectors and topics, looking for potential investment opportunities, sharing those opportunities with everyone in the community. I also go over Q&A sessions. I can answer your questions face to face over a Zoom call. That's the Q&A sessions that we have this weekend. There is one Sunday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. You can attend it or you can send me questions beforehand. I generally answer even questions sent. If you can't attend it, they are recorded and uploaded to the website. The value of the website mainly is in two areas. It's those Q&A sessions, because we generally do trainings in the beginning of them, or we talk about investments, conference calls, a whole bunch of different things, which we do have coming up this one. I've got about 3, 4, 5 different conference calls we'll talk about. And how do you buy bottoms, so to speak? Someone asked that question. I think it's a good question. And what I use to identify the bottoms. We do have a special coupon code that's active right now. Special is the code. You get 50% off the first month only, and a larger discount on the yearly membership. Let's dive right in, take a look, see what's going on with, starting with the dollar here. And this still looks good to go higher. We did have a down day today, down 0.18, but this type of configuration that I see there is still a bullish configuration. And really what it is, it's the stair-step pattern. It's these flag patterns that develop that we stair step on, and that's what I look for. That still looks good, and I'm seeing yields are working their way on up, which is a driver potentially of a stronger dollar, depending on what yields backing other currencies look like. So the 2-year yield's up 3.5%. Like I said, this was the driver of it, and this is just more or less some sort of flag pattern that we are now breaking to the upside. That looks good to go higher. Higher. What's going on there? I don't know. But it looks good to go higher in the short term here. We'll see what kind of follow through we get. The 10-year yield up 2%. That's also moving on up. It's the same situation as the 2-year there. It's just a flag pattern that looks like it wants to try to break higher. We've got a 30-year yield. Again, it's the same thing. Big buying, or I should say big yield move higher. Then we have these small little red candlesticks. That's generally what a consolidation is. And then you start to break higher eventually. So that looks good. And we're sitting on top of a bunch of support. It looks a little bit easier to see the flag pattern there, taking a weekly view of it. TLT bond prices getting smoked to the downside, down 1% and popping out there. I just threw that there yesterday. And that is a flag pattern that is generally a continuation pattern lower. The 2 and the 10, what's going on here? We're inverting the curve. I thought we were going to get a recession. I thought we were heading lower and that this was going to blow out to the downside and all the deflationists were right. That's not what I'm seeing at the moment. I'm not saying that that is necessarily wrong. This is going in the wrong direction. It's inverting again. And the 2-year yield was up 3.5%. The 10-year was only up 2%. AKA, it's inverting the curve upward. Now, maybe that's only because we have to roll over copious amounts of debt. And maybe this curve is all sorts of messed up because of that. Maybe. Are we getting reliable signals from our yield curve? Good question. I don't know the answer here, but I mean, this kind of looks almost like a shoulder deal going on that looks good to go up. But again, we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens. Take the wait and see approach. Obviously, if we do have recessionary fears and people run into bonds and they start to lower interest rates, that would come back down. And that would be the same as all these other recessions that we've had in history. We very well could go through a recession and this doesn't go down. Maybe it goes back up because we're in inflationary times. And that's and we're comparing to the wrong times in history. That also could be a potential outcome. TYX TNX ratio, we're down a little bit. No tailwind behind gold from this perspective. We did have a little bit weaker dollar, so that's a little bit of a tailwind from that. But gold is up. It's up $18 an ounce. We've been in this little consolidation here, kind of a flag pattern that's still broken lower. That downtrend is still intact. I don't see it turning yet, but that's kind of where we're at with gold. And there's a bunch of support levels going across. They're all over the place. Where we're at. There's another one here. There's quite strong ones all through here. So, and then there's people who use Fibonacci retracements, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Silver down 0.86, and again, remember that trend line I drew a long time ago, and I talked about buying next to these large red candlesticks. That this usually comes up and rolls over. Kind of looks like what it's doing. It kind of looks like it's rolling over here, and maybe we've got some further downside in the short term in silver. Platinum down slightly, but it's holding on. We're still in this big squeeze of a lifetime here, squeezing up in this there, and I think this will break to the upside. If we get a break to the upside and platinum starts to outperform gold, that means that the stock market's going to underperform, and we're going to see commodities rip. That's what I think will occur. So I'm waiting for this to rip here. Palladium's up 1%. That's still squeezing in that corner there. It's looking pretty good. We'll see which direction this thing wants to go over the next few weeks. XAU to gold ratio down a little bit. So the gold and silver mining companies were down while gold was up a little bit. And nothing's changed here. We still have incredible value. We've broken the downtrend line. We're still above support here. Nothing's really changed at this moment for that ratio of gold and silver miners versus gold. GDX down slightly. We've got GDXJ down slightly and SILJ down a little bit. So we're consolidating a little bit lower, just like all the metals are at this point. It doesn't mean that I would do anything different. I would just sit in it and wait. I prefer the smaller guys to the larger ones. I like the SILJs and the GDXJs. Crude oil, we're down about 1.1%, 1.2%, somewhere in there. It still looks good to be a potential double bottom. What that means is that we got the wick on the bottom there, wick at the bottom. We're holding on to sideways action, which then puts it into what I call the bloody nose, which could be a continuation pattern higher. I'd like to see some bigger candlesticks show up, ones that look like this or like this, and we start to draw upward a few candlesticks like that somewhere. And I want to see small red candlesticks pulling back inside of like a big bullish engulfing one. That would be ideal because that kind of tells me that the buyers are in control. But right now, it's trying to turn. We'll see if it is successful. We also need to get follow through on it. I don't want to come up here and then roll back over and live at 60 something dollar a barrel for 6 months to a year. It's possible it could do something like that, but we'll see what it looks like. We'll see what the turn looks like and how much buying pressure. TTF nat gas up 1.5%. We're still in this downtrend though, and it could still be another flag pattern which stair steps lower. We've got natural gas in America up 5.2%. Pretty big day today. Pretty strong closing too. I do think nat gas in America is going to have to go up. I think we're going to have to get to a level where we start to turn on a bunch of rigs. We're not at that level yet. We're not turning on rigs. So price is too low, and we're going to have to start turning them on because we've got a wall of LNG terminal capacity coming. We also need to start exporting more to Mexico, and we consume more too in America for electricity burn and all sorts of stuff. So I think this is going to work its way on up over time. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, up 2% today. What's going on here? I thought oil was down. Sometimes the markets will front run the equities before going into the physical commodity. Maybe that's the case, maybe not. It's a strong candlestick today, up 2% right at the closing. We'll see if this continues higher or not. It's one to watch, though. If I were to take the way that this fell, which is this, I flipped it. I flipped it over. But that kind of looks like what it looks like if we were to have this mirror this. And we could get a little bit lower. Maybe we're bottoming, tough to say. But it looks very, very similar in terms of this fractal. And I think that this is a good spot to be looking. OIH also participating in the up move, 2.67% to the upside. I think this looks good. Now, I am biased. I listen to conference calls and I look at the earnings, and I don't just do one. I do the whole sector. Um, I think we're going higher, but that's me. Maybe we get a recession. Maybe things weigh us down, but a lot of those companies look pretty good, is what I'll say. I think this looks good. It looks like crap on the long term, though. You back out, this does not look good. It does not look good from a long-term perspective, but the short term, you're breaking through this trend line here. That's positive movements to the upside. Newcastle Coal Futures up 0.84%. That's trying to put in a bottom and perhaps maybe work its way on up. We've got Sprott Physical Uranium Trust up 1.52%. Little small candlestick there, but we're moving on up. The uranium price looks absolutely excellent. It's been working its way on up. Look at that thing go. So I think it looks good. I think everything is A-OK here, and I like the sector quite a bit. URA up 2.13. It's starting to get through this resistance area. We'll see if that can keep going. Even if we do loop around, it's not the end of the world, even if we do something like that. URAINUM up about 3%, getting through or trying to get through some resistance right where we're at. We'll see if we can punch through. We've got URNJ doing the same thing. Right at resistance, trying to punch through it. Nickel moving sideways, just zero, flat. We've got copper up 1.33%. There we are moving on up. Now, I hate being next to these large down candlesticks. Lots of the times you get these moves and they kind of do something like that, or you get back to this area down here even and do a double bottom. Happens all the time. So we'll see what happens. I'd be patient here. I wouldn't be flying in front of this, but hate being next to these big red candlesticks with small greens. COPX up 2.18. We're above a lot of support here, guys. There's your support. Everything looks fine. Just patience. Lithium up 2.7. This thing looks good to go, guys. I want to see this thing rip. We got the trend line. We're trying to break through that trend and get moving. I think this is a slingshot double bottom where your bottom comes a little bit below that and then it slingshots it all the way up. Hopefully that's the case. I've got some money in it. REMX up 2%. I also think it's the same thing. They share a lot of similar companies, REMX and lithium. You can draw a line across. That's doing the same kind of slingshot potential in this. Iron ore up 0.1, and it's still squeezing into this corner here. Everything looks fine. Everything looks fine there. Aluminum up 1%. This one had an inverted flag pattern. It's still in it. We've got Baltic Dry Index up 1.8. That looks good to try to work its way on up in the short term. You get big buying pressure, small selling pressure. Think of it as a continuation pattern, perhaps. Emerging markets up 2.86%, looking pretty strong. Oh, big gap in the morning there. Look at that gap. Still looks good to go higher, though. Work its way on up. Weaker dollar, it could be the driver of it. Moo up 1.26. That was right at resistance there. And that's where we're residing at the moment. We're right up against resistance. We're trying to break through. And I do think it's going to break through and rip. I think this is ready to rip, guys. That's what I honestly think. I think this thing's going to get moving here. KRE up 2.76%. I got the upward from yesterday. It's just a flag pattern, and there it is breaking out today. So that's cool. Looking pretty good. XHB also working higher. had the small little flag pattern going on. Your reversal candlestick was that day. That was the reversal of the 90-day reversal of the tariffs. Get all these small little candlesticks next to it. Boom, flag, boom, flag, boom, 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 flag, flag. There we go. Russell 2000 up 2.27%. The plunge protection team could be in here too, guys. I know Basent makes all these under the cuff comments on Twitter, like he'll put out, oh, I think the volatility has peaked. And that was when it was like here, which means that generally it goes up. But he says that under the breath, like he knows what's coming. He's like, yeah, volatility, it's peaked. I think it's peaked. AKA, we are going to be in there buying stock. He said that with other stuff too. He'll say under the breath, like, yeah, gasoline prices are super cheap. And I'm like, are you in there holding oil prices down? Like, oh, what are you doing back there, buddy? SPX also heading higher there. We got through some resistance, which is a good thing if you're an SPX bull. We've got NASDAQ also heading higher in the short term. SMCI up 3%, doing in the double bottom. Doing the DB, double bottom. We've got NVIDIA also broken its downtrend here. We can kind of throw this up here too. I kind of threw this in there just as a trend, but you've got that up there. We'll leave it like that. But it's heading higher, 2.5% today. Bitcoin's continuing on up. That's broken through some resistance. Ethereum also heading higher, 0.3%. That still looks good. Nothing wrong there. And then MicroStrategy's up 3.35. He's got to get buying the Bitcoin. Is he going to buy a bunch more Bitcoin or something? I think he was going to buy more. And then the VIX was down 8%. It just keeps walking itself back down. Generally, the S&P goes up when this goes down. And then going over the commodity currencies real quick, commodity currencies look pretty good. So if we kind of take a bigger, longer picture view of this thing, we're right underneath resistance. If we can break through here, we're going to be real happy. We're going to be real happy. This is the last commodity bull market back here. That's what I think is going to come at some point whenever this thing starts to rip. This is the African Rand. This has been squeezing into the corner here. If this starts to rip, guys, there are companies that are going to go ballistic goose. BRL, Brazilian Real, we've got the big downtrend in the falling wedge, and then sometimes they chop sideways for a little bit before heading higher. A lot of the times you put in like a big double bottom. The weird part is how this fell over here. This looks like a double bottom to me and ready to break there, but we had a nice little detour. A detour. It's not a detour. It's not a tuma. That's what it is. And then the Australian dollar USD, that's squeezing up just like it did. It had a big break back here, which was the commodity bull market. And we're going to get a weaker dollar. This will hopefully break. And then Great British Pound, or British Pound, I should say, breaking on higher out of this thing, and this looks good to go higher. It's in an uptrend here any second, creating a new high. But that's what I've got for today, guys. So give me a thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website. I'll see you guys on Sunday if you are a part of the community, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll go over your guys' questions. One of the questions is basically, how do I identify buying bottoms? What's my approach? I am aggressive, I will say that, and we'll go over that. I've got a couple of conference calls, probably about 3 or 4 of them that we can touch and highlight on. A couple of charts, couple of graphs, some information about some of my favorite companies that I would like to share with respect to very large amounts of share buybacks, very large amounts. So we'll go over that all Sunday, guys. But that's all I've got for today. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.